All right, Sisters fans, BET dropped this article that I highly disagree with. I will leave a link in the comment section below if you would like to check it out for yourself. 5 reasons why Calvin should come back to Tyler Perry's Sisters. When we last heard of Calvin, he had fallen in love with a woman out of state and moved away, but we missed the friendship he brings to Sabrina's life. What was it, like episode 1, if I'm not mistaken, Maurice told Sabrina over the phone that he got together with some snow bunny and then they both split town. And I could be wrong. My own personal headcanon is that it was Peggy, the white chick he was with in season 2. And they split town together. Or was it season 3? Yeah, well, actually, I think Peggy was introduced in season 2 and she also appeared in 3. She was the girl that Calvin came out of his bedroom with butt naked, so yeah. And in terms of we missed the friendship he brings to Sabrina's life, he was more just a friend zone guy who self-inserted himself into Sabrina's life when she was going through it, or she would call on him in order to basically provide a shoulder to lean on, but that's really about it. Okay. Anyone who watches the series is familiar with Calvin, played by Anthony Dalton. They actually spelled it Dalto. They forgot the N. He was introduced as a man who had a crush on Sabrina, and she kind of liked him, but then she played him because she thought he was too feminine. Even though he would have been well within his rights to cut Sabrina off, he stuck around and became her friend, but then he decided to leave ATL because he fell in love with someone else. As far as we know, there aren't any plans to bring him back, but he was a character worth having around. I disagree. Here are 5 reasons we hope Calvin returns next season. Okay, first of all, he stuck around and became a friend. I disagree. I think he only stuck around in terms of being like a satellite to Sabrina's planet, simply put, to be taken out of the friend zone. And I think that's the only reason he, interacted with her. And Maurice didn't help, because one minute he'd say, like, you two need to grow up and decide what do you want to be. And if you don't want to be together, just leave that woman alone or leave that man alone. And the next thing you know, it's like, just talk to her, Calvin. Or Sabrina, talk to the man. He thinks about you all the time. It's like ridiculous. Now, in terms of the 5 reasons, he's an interesting character. Calvin is a character that is in touch with his feminine side without being overly flamboyant and stereotypical. So essentially, he's the opposite of Maurice. He has an affinity for wearing women's panties, which seems odd, but that's because that challenges the norms of what cis men are supposed to be into. What the hell is cis? Cis? What? Hang on, let me Google that. That shows you how, I don't even want to say out of touch I am, because I don't know what the heck they change these things into. Hang on. I'm going to Google, so I'm not just pulling these meanings out of my behind here. Most people who are assigned female at birth identity as girls or women, and most people who are assigned male at birth identify as boy and men. These people are cisgender or cis. Wait, what happened to heterosexual? So is cis a short form of heterosexual, as in I'm straight and I go by the gender I was given at birth? This is not coming from a place of mean-spirited ignorance. I am just asking a question because it is in the article. So if there's anybody who wants to give me flack for that, hey, I ain't know. Okay. So, hang on. He has an affinity for wearing women's panties, which seems odd, but that's because that challenges the norms of what heterosexual men are supposed to be into. He's also an adoptee of 2 white gay dads. We've seen him interact with his parents somewhat, but more could be explored there. Okay, to some extent, I do agree with the aspects of what used to make Calvin interesting, and to me, it had nothing to do with challenging gender norms. For me, it was the fact that he lose one of his dads towards the end of season 1, and then when he got drunk at Sabrina's place, he threatened to like knock her out, And then while he was like in a drunken state, kind of like calmed down, he revealed that I think it was a relative or somebody that got a woman or hired a woman to have sex with him at a young age to basically influence him in a way where no blood of mine is going to be, feminine or gay or anything. So, and then Sabrina even revealed that she dealt with something like that at a younger age herself in terms of either being, sexually active due to a situation out of her control at a younger age. Yet we never re-explored. We never went back to that. And I feel like any possible intriguing storyline with Calvin died in like season 2. I think the moment that he moved in with Maurice, that was pretty much it. He was just kind of there. And then when it became clear Sabrina didn't want to have anything to do with him in terms of a romantic sense, there was really no need for him to stay around. But that's just me. It's like the longer he stayed around, the more he just became a filler character. Number 2, he's a great friend. Sabrina curved his romantic advances to the left, to the left, but they seemingly got over it and became friends. I disagree. Calvin was never cool with just being friends, because if he was, he wouldn't have gotten so bent out of shape any time Sabrina would interact with another guy. So no. Sabrina, Maurice, and Calvin had become one happy friend family and were cute as a trio. Again, I highly disagree, but he was there for, emotional support when needed. But overall, that he wanted to be more than just friends with Sabrina. And unfortunately for him, we never got that confirmation. But in any case, I think that when you look at these reasons, I'm on number 3 right now. I haven't read the article. I read just the titles of each reason, but the justifications don't really line up if you ask me. He was funny. Sabrina, Calvin, and Maurice were also funny as a trio. Calvin sometimes got himself in sticky situations trying to stick up for his friend, like the slap scene around the internet. Calvin was only good in the sense of being viral. I think there are 2 key points in the show. I think one from season 1 and the other from season 3 when he went viral. The one talking about how he likes his prostate tickled, and then when Jacoby punched him and he twirled and fell. Those were the 2 moments. Those moments went so viral. If I'm not mistaken, even Snoop Dogg retweet or reposted the punch where he got, where he screamed and then spun around. To this day, I still think it was Maurice that did the screaming, even though it has been confirmed that it was Calvin. But it made more sense to me that Maurice was the one that did it, but whatever. But yeah, it just, that's all he was really good for. Those 2 moments, and then that was it. But that's just me. And Maurice, Calvin, and Sabrina, were they really funny? They had a couple of moments, but I wouldn't say that they were, not my humor. I'll leave it at that, because there are people who think they're incredibly funny, but nah, not necessarily me. Number 4, integration with the crew. We didn't get to see Calvin interact much with Sabrina's other friends, and now that there are more people involved since the girls have boyfriends, Calvin's character could add some interesting perspective and depth to the friendship dynamics between the larger group and the subgroups. To some extent, I get what they're saying, but it really doesn't make sense for, let's say, the guy who was wanting to be with Sabrina the longest, interacting with the man, Rich, who was in a relationship for 3+ months with her. It doesn't add up. I mean, the one and only time to quote unquote bring Calvin back would have been the sperm donor thing, but even still, that would have just been stupid. So no, Calvin interacting with the other characters doesn't really add up. I mean, aside from Maurice, that's pretty much it. I think the only time we even see Calvin with like numerous other characters was outside of the salon when it burnt down, because I did like when in season 2, I think it was season 2, when he went over to Sabrina's to quote unquote demand she come over to his place for dinner, and he told the other women off. I did like that, but other than that, no. And wait, yeah, I think it was after the robbery too, so maybe that was season 3. When did the bank get robbed? I think it was season 3, right? When Q rob the bank? Because I remember Sabrina and Maurice went back to Maurice's in Calvin's apartment, and then that's where Sabrina found Peggy and Calvin. So I think it was season 3. But in any case, the last one, more platonic relationships with men. This group of ladies need to have more platonic relationships with men, and not men who are just gay or their boyfriend's friends or their girlfriend's boyfriends. There are just real friendships that aren't romantic or transactional beyond supporting someone whose company you enjoy in a platonic way. Without a jealousy storyline with Sabrina's boyfriend, Calvin and Sabrina's dynamic could be good for that. That actually does make sense. That last one. But the thing is, it will be difficult to display Calvin in a non-jealous way when he's been jealous of Jacoby, of Bio. I think those were the only other potential love interests for Sabrina. And Calvin was jealous of both of them. So for him to not be jealous over her long-term, I know it's not technically long-term, but in terms of the show, it is long. Her 3+ month relationship, it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me. I think that he would be jealous. He would be hating it. I mean, even if he had that snow bunny on the side, he'd still be thinking about Sabrina. So I honestly don't see a plausible reason for Calvin coming back. But that's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm pretty sure they're drumming up articles like this to get people still talking about the show. And there's no doubt in my mind that if they made one about Preston, that would just get a lot of traction. But I still don't think he needs to come back either. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.